Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, X Rotation, however the flipping on me these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys my preview of the minor one for the CDL 2026 season. I almost said major one, but this is minor one for this year. Last year we had minor one between majors 1 and 2. This year we're having it after major 2. So this is a fun chance for teams who don't have, good seeding placement for champs at the moment to kind of run up the ladder. Because if you guys didn't know, you get points for the minor tournament. So you see Optic Texas has 300, but for teams like C9, Breach, Vancouver Surge, Carolina Royal Ravens, Riyadh Falcons, etc., it's definitely great because essentially what the minor does is it freezes the standings in stasis. So these all stay the same, but if you lose, you don't lose any points. If you win, you gain points and you move up. So that's how it works. So for teams like this, Vancouver Surge who are frozen in time, if they win the minor right now, which they actually don't have a terrible like, they actually have a chance of doing that. They could get 30 points for that, right? Then that puts them at 115, right over the Carolina Royal Ravens, putting them in that ninth place slot, gunning for a champ slot. So things get interesting going into the next major, especially as the season tightens up. So that's the explanation of the introduction of the minor, why it's important, what it does, and why some teams are really going to be doing their absolute best to turn some heads. Seems like Carolina Royal Ravens, who want to get some more gap between themselves and teams they're trying to gatekeep, like the team that they just sent Nero to, the Vancouver Surge, right? They're trying to keep them in a lower rung at the moment. So let's get into it with the first matchup. Speaking of the team that Nero was sent to, we have the Vancouver Surge taking on the Riyadh Falcons. I really like all the changes I've seen from Vancouver. I don't have them making a super deep run, but I do have them beating Falcons. Falcons are looking very dysfunctional at the moment. It's Kismet versus the world. And I do like what I've seen from Vancouver Surge. I mean, I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, putting your faith in Nero, Teach, Lunars, and them. They've just been shooting, man. And Call of Duty is just, it's a very straightforward thing. If it makes sense, then, run with it and it should work out, right? Speaking of if it makes sense, run with it and it should work out. Excuse me. I put my faith in the Miami Heretics one too many times this season, and I'm gonna do it again. I feel like online Heretics, I feel like they're pretty good. On land, they have not really lived up to the hype, but online they've looked phenomenal as a team. They've looked to be able to hang with some of the better teams, and they've looked to keep these teams like Boston Breach just kind of where you expect them to in a lower rung. So, in our next matchup, we have G2 Minnesota taking on Cloud9 New York. And even though G2's been playing pretty badly as of late against top tier teams, I do think they beat Cloud9. Now, Cloud9 did play Optic pretty tight, it has to be said. And G2's been looking pretty free. So, if there's going to be a blockbuster, barn burner upset on day one, this is definitely it. I mean, I have half a mind to say that C9 wins, but I just haven't confidently seen enough from them to say that they beat a team like G2 who's going to be looking to not get any egg on their face after being embarrassed multiple times to start this new split. Speaking of a team who has not been embarrassed multiple times to start this new split, we have Toronto Koi. I think they make pretty easy work of the Carolina Royal Ravens. This Koi team looks to be hitting a new stride, especially with Kips. He's finally looking comfortable, and he's looking to be the player that we all kind of thought he would turn into pretty quickly, just as quickly as we thought he would turn into him. So, speaking of things we thought would turn into different things, I think this is going to turn into a mate win. I feel like mates are getting their mojo back. I feel like Miami, conversely, is just in a weird place. Maybe this goes the opposite way. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but just reading the tea leaves, it feels like a Gentlemates win. Now, stories old as time, Surge versus Faze. I think Faze win this. Surge is looking very much improved, but I think the defending Major 2 champs, I think they'll just be locked in. They've looked really good so far online. The map pool, I think, is definitely going to favor them. And definitely this meta with the NPC, it favors Draza to be a more natural flex, which is kind of the thing where he was kind of like before, but now Draw's got a sub where he can really be a Draza kind of flex, and we're seeing the difference. I mean, yeah. So we have Optic Texas taking on the Toronto Koi in our round two matchup. I think this one goes deep to the surprise of really no one. Koi's improving a lot. I think a lot of people are expecting Koi to play pretty well here. But yeah, I think the green wall, I think they get it done. I think this is a pretty easy read. I think the LA Thieves and their Sake Colossus combo, I think it'll be too much for G2 Minnesota. I think they get put in the old sake glass, get taken on a flight, not on a plane, but sake flight, and they get sampled by a lot of different people, meaning just LA Thieves, and they don't like the tasting, so they send it back to the chef, and it's over. Anyways, speaking of sending it back to the chef, it's over. I think Faze Vegas. I think even though they've faced each other quite a few times this year, I think that they beat the Gentlemates. I think they beat them pretty decisively, just map pool thing. Gentlemates are, I don't feel like they're at their full strength just yet in this map pool and in this meta. I think in a little bit of time they'll be like back to their major one, really scary looking form. But right now I think they're just kind of figuring themselves out. Now, on the top half of the bracket, speaking of people figuring themselves out, I think that this LA Thieves team is on a new pathway of self-discovery, but I think all the self-help books and all of the yoga that they're doing is not necessarily going to give them the clarity that they oh so search for. So, I think in our grand finals, somehow, some way, Optic Texas versus Faze Vegas. Surprise, surprise. Am I right? I think, yeah. I think we get the pink versus the green, and I think Optic get their get back this time. I think Faze been playing really well, but I just feel like Optic. Simp in finals against Optic. You know what, guys? Let's just let old habits die hard. Faze just won Major 2. Let's have them win Minor 1. Uh, yeah, book it. We're gonna lock it in. Maybe Faze get bowed out somewhere in here. I mean, they only played 2 matches if all things go according to plan. Well, 3. So yeah, maybe they get bounced out by Mates or Surge. Doubt it, but yeah, I think they make Sunday. I think they make finals, and I think they beat Optic here. So yeah, that'll sort of wrap it up for me, guys. Not really a lot here with this minor tournament. Just a little fun tournament thrown in there. 12-team single elim turn. So we have something to break things up for teams that need to kind of scale a little bit of an insurmountable kind of mountain to mount and climb, if you will. So we'll see if anything interesting happens. Maybe a team like the Vancouver Surge can make some noise. Maybe something else happens. But as you guys can see in the breakdown, 30 points go to the first place team in the minor, 20 points go to second, and then third and fourth get 10. So in my bracket, the LA Thieves and of course Gentlemates would get 10 points. Optic would get 20, excuse me, and then Faze would get the full 30. So many points, baby. It's so many points, man. Anyways, catch you guys on the next one. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, like I always say on these videos. And I will catch you guys once again, I guess later next week for a recap and preview and all the usual content. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and share it with someone who may be new and enjoy this content type if you think they will. Yeah, catch you guys on the next one. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you there. Peace.